So anyway, so I'm glad everybody's here in chat. Everybody's rolling along. T-shirts, awesome to have you in. And I wanted to, one thing that, in addition to just not have a chance to talk to you directly for a while, I wanted to get a good gaming update and stuff going on. I mean, Twig is rocking and rolling. It's always great stuff, folks. If you're not plugged into that Saturday show, it's awesome. There's going to be links in the description, of course, to T-shirts channel. Tons of great folks on there. What's some of the latest, greatest stuff that you kind of want to plug that you guys have been talking about?
Well, it seems like every other week there's something going on with the tabletop gaming industry. So that is kind of a constant topic on our show. And I have nothing, I'm not going to say anything bad about the community or YouTubers or anything like that. It does kind of seem like our TTRPG hobby is kind of a niche that a lot of our friends don't necessarily follow. So I always kind of feel a little bit sad about that, because it's kind of like, we're so enthusiastic. So many of our panelists are either writers for tabletop role-playing games or avid collectors or players of tabletop role-playing games. And so when we announce tabletop role-playing game stuff, it's just kind of like, I always feel like the community is just kind of like, why don't we move on to something that, like comics or movies or TV shows and all that kind of stuff. And we do that stuff too.
Sure.
But
I treat you as the expert. I gotta be honest. I'm just as guilty as a YouTuber. I guess some people will look at me as being a bigger channel because they count subs more importantly than I do. But reality is, I just don't know enough. I never connected to a lot of that stuff. And for you guys, I listen to you and Ironcaster's become kind of a closer friend, and just I'm learning, trying to understand, because I have such a great appreciation for the mythos and the art and the creative talent, and you have just incredible personalities in there that are able to give such expertise. I just want to see more of it. And but it's also a lot of division in the hobby as well, right? It's
what's that?
It's a lot of chaos and division in the hobby sometimes.
Yes.
It's almost like Gamergate 2.0, like it's a new version of infighting of crazy stuff. It's like, oh, yeah, they're going through some of that too, and maybe we're not giving enough attention to that. Maybe that's part of the problem.
And it's almost an ageist kind of thing at this point now, because it seems like a lot of the younger crowd just actively hates a lot of us older folks that, are still gaming. And it's like, I keep trying to tell people, it's like, I don't care if it's
old.
I don't care if it's comics, if it's video games, if it's tabletop role-playing games, any hobby you want to name out there that people enjoy now, we built that.
Mm-hmm.
We built that.
All I'm going to say is I love and respect the elderly.
I'm not elderly yet.
Thank you, Matt.
I'm joking, but at the same time, I'm being serious. I mean, as somebody who's probably caught in the middle in a way, because I'm, in my 30s, I just don't understand the clash. I just don't get it. So I honestly like to speak to a younger generation and try to mentor them and help them understand life and all this other stuff. But I also respect people who came before me who did the stuff, who actually have the wisdom, who actually helped give us the things that we have now, because if it weren't for them, we wouldn't have the things now. So I don't know. It's weird. So
yeah, I mean, it's our fandom that has allowed this stuff to prosper, to grow, and to continue to evolve into what it is now. It's like,
exactly.
Final Fantasy VII, for example, that was such a landmark game for the Final Fantasy series. It's like, everybody played it, everybody enjoyed it for the most part, and everybody always wanted more and more and more of it. And it's kind of like, I thought that was like their spike point for Final Fantasy, because Final Fantasy was a great series before then, but 7, I think, really clicked with so many people, and it put it more or less on the map outside of just the realm of, video game nerds.
Yeah, that's the one everybody talks about. Like, that's the one that it's FF7, and it's like, oh, okay, that's the big milestone. Yeah,
and I mean, nice. If you name the characters, people know who they are. Cloud Strife, Barrett Oliver, or Barrett. What's his last name?
But like Red 13 and Tifa
Red 13, Tifa.
Yeah, it's
Tifa, of course. Tifa. Everybody talks about Tifa.
Yeah,
Tifa.
Everybody talks about Tifa. Yeah, Yuffie. Yep. It's just. Yep.
Yeah. Yes, Chase. Yeah.
And even now, you know, Fat Steven is playing Final Fantasy VII Remake on his channel. So, you know, I'm glad all that stuff really took off. I'm glad people are enjoying it now today too. And I'm glad to have been part of the generation that drove the sales and the fandom of that to, you know, to reach the heights that it's gotten to. Because, you know, I was one of the first people in line. I bought a Japanese version of Final Fantasy VII just so I could play it before it released in America. And then, of course, I bought an American version when it came out. So,
yeah,
you know, Final Fantasy and 7 especially was just, you know, that was just magnificent for me. And that's just one example of one hobby.
Yeah, he just pointed out that every license has kind of had their fingers in this in some way, shape, or form pretty much over the years. And that is so true and so forgotten, by the way. Totally agree with that. Yeah. So it is interesting the way you described that too. And I think, you know, we did a stream, Max and I did a stream, we were honoring the 45th anniversary of Star Wars. And I think what was interesting was I had either right before or right after had been bashing Obi-Wan Kenobi show, which
rightfully so.
Right. And I kind of got exactly what you said, T-shirt. I got like, you're just the old guy who can't handle new stuff and whatever. And I was like, what? And it was like, wait a minute. You know, I'm the kid that would buy all these action figures and would beg for more money to buy more. And we were the ones who got you toys. Like if it wasn't for this phenomenon, you know, this, because before that, they weren't little action figures. They weren't mass produced like that. They were all G.I. Joe sized and what. So it's just, it's a weird response. I mean, I've been called a lot worse than that, but it was just, I was kind of shocked by the weirdness of that response. Like that was, of all the things I was saying, they weren't attacking a lot of substance. They were just saying, well, you're just an old guy. Doesn't like, I'm like, what are you talking about? Yeah. So yeah, it is.
I had to respond to that. Remember, I had to put a comment there, and I said, "I'm in my 30s, and if people are saying this stuff, then they can come at me. I don't care. I'll be the defender here. I'll just say, I hate it when people try to do that, where they say, well, you're the old person in the room, and you don't like new stuff. I don't." Well, yeah, the new stuff sucks for one. I was just going to say it like that. But two, a lot of, I mean, I'm not saying I'm at the same age level as you guys, but at least I even know better in terms of what I grew up with. I grew up with all the 80s and 90s stuff. My parents showed old Hollywood classics like Casablanca and just I don't understand. And it's like real storytelling transcends age and time. So it's like
agreed.
Yeah. Right?